What's up guys, welcome back to another video. It's Lexi here. So in this video I want to talk about distractions purely and how important it is to notice distractions in your life. And distractions can come in different forms in your life. This could be like, environments, circumstance, people, like objects, social media, like everything can be a distraction. And a lot of the worldly things we have can take you away from God and distract you away from God, because if you don't keep your eyes on God, you're kind of gonna just fall down, as I've talked about before. But it's important to notice what is distracting you in your life and how much time are you wasting, because we only have limited time on this earth, to spend with God and to do what we need to do to grow our soul and to have a meaningful life. You really need to consider, where are you spending your time? Are you watching TikTok for 8 hours? Are you just laying around doing basically nothing? Not that there's anything wrong with inherently purposeful rest and giving your body rest and taking time off and so on, work-life balance and everything in health, but you have to consider, when are you actually resting and when are you just being lazy? God does not want us to be lazy and not have a meaningful life and just lay around and do nothing with our lives. And God gives us meaning, worshiping God, praying to God and seeking God and doing our duties for God and living a meaningful, purposeful life where we can have fun and we can also enjoy our lives very much with God. And doing these duties with God, everything God just makes it better and more purposeful. You feel this presentness in every situation, and I think it's important to notice this. And this is where we kind of come into distractions. You can't reach this lifestyle of being able to do your work properly and purposefully if you're constantly distracted by this could be lust, food, whatever it is for you, like an addiction. Maybe it's just your own mind, even your own mind could be a huge distraction. Maybe you procrastinate, maybe you have feelings you're trying to go through, and maybe you're constantly thinking about some person. These could be kind of distractions you don't even notice. You're thinking about a situation, it's actually taking away notice at least, sometimes we think about stuff, but notice if it's taking away from your work, you're literally unable to work or do something purposeful you're supposed to do because you're thinking about your family members or whatever, friend or something somebody said all the time. If it doesn't distract you from your work and you can still get stuff done regardless of your mood and all these things, that's okay, if you can push through it. But if it's actually taking away from your work and it's constantly hindering you, then you need to kind of stop and contemplate, why am I being distracted by this thing, and figure it out in your mind and seek God and ask God for help as well. If it's something you feel like you can't solve in your mind and you really need help from God and guidance on your life and healing, perhaps, this could be also a lot of people just busy about, they don't take time off to heal themselves from traumas and doing the inner work and actually figuring out what is the problem inside their head. Why am I thinking about this? Why is this this trauma keeps coming up? It's because you haven't healed from that trauma, and God can help you lift you up from that darkness to the light where you don't feel all these useless traumas and things. You can heal them through, we experience life, of course, and things are orchestrated for us and we have certain experiences to have you could say better understanding of ourselves and to see the darkness and the light and to be able to recognize these things. And every experience has a purpose to it, and sometimes we make mistakes that we could avoid in hindsight. Sometimes you just later realize, okay, I shouldn't have done that, and you learned your lesson. But sometimes there's also mistakes that you could very obviously avoid. It's kind of like Noah built in the ark. He was trying to avoid a lot of mistakes preemptively by thinking, okay, let's not make this mistake and so on. And that's kind of the mindset, is think ahead before you make a decision or before you do something as much as possible, so you can avoid delays and mistakes and things like that. And that's kind of here, when it comes to distractions, just recognize your mind. Your mind can be hugely distracted. You can distract yourself with your own mind. It doesn't have to be even other people that are distracting you with what they're doing with activities or the events or circumstances around you. It doesn't have to be that, the outside world. It can just be inside your own head too. And I think a lot of us and our problems come from our own mind and our imaginations into our reality. Your inner self is creating your outside reality, and that outside reality then bothers you more, but you're already bothered inside your mind, and your mind is actually the real cause and issue of you feeling distracted. in the first place, because you're creating that reality outwardly from your mind that's distracting you even more, and it's showing you your outer reality, showing you how distracted you are in your inner reality as well. So this is also something to keep in mind when you're looking at distractions. And the world is always guiding us and showing us what we're doing wrong if you just pay enough attention and learn the signs and learn to look at life through the lens of the soul, and look at the world always telling us what we're doing wrong in a sense and trying to guide you to the right path. That's when you walk with God, you can start to recognize these things about yourself that you need to change for the better, that you're lacking in these areas, especially in our minds. Our mind and soul is like the most important thing we need to develop. Of course, our health and everything is important, but our mind and soul is like the primary thing that's like allows us to create, allows us to move, allows us to think positively and freely and be in that joyful, peaceful state. And that's what you need to kind of achieve to be able to do anything. If you're constantly bothered by, feelings, depression, all these things, worries all the time, you're not going to be very happy or in a good state of mind to do anything. And you're constantly going to be distracted by something, men, women, friends, families, etc. Like small worries about finances, small worries about your future and this and that and that. Like that's why you need to kind of gain this presentness in your body and be able to be in the present. That's why I think meditation and praying to God and reading God's words and spending time with God helps with that, gaining that presentness in your body. And that's something you need to also train by, go outside and just be present in the moment. Look at the things around you, look at the pretty flowers and so on, literally. That's what I did. It's just like be present and look at the nature around you. I don't know, you don't have to look at people, but look at like the nature around you and spend some time in nature. Just look at beautiful stuff and be in the present moment, absorb the moment, enjoy the moments you have. That's the way you can gain more presentness. It's just those little things and deriving gratefulness and good feelings and positivity from those small present moments we're in, and enjoying the moments and understanding them, and just being in that feeling state, not thinking about anything else, just thinking about what you're doing right now, like an ant in a sense, one step at a time, and not being distracted. Just focus on the next thing you need to do and just do that and then move on to the next thing. That way you can stay on the road and not be distracted, because if you're constantly thinking I need to do 10 things, just focus on one at a time and you'll be fine. And that's all I want to say about distractions in this video. If you'd like to donate, in the description, one-on-ones in the description. There's always a way. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Amen. I hope this helps.